Here it is for you guys. Enjoy.
Welcome, y'all, to We the Thunder. I'm your host, Shooty Shoots. We've got the Stache.
Is it the mustache? Who knows?
And we have Thomas Schooley. 1 year older, but looking 1 year older too.
Not Walmart. It ages you.
We are on the eve of opening night in downtown Tampa. I don't know if you guys saw my drawing here. Oh, you can't even see. I gotta unblock the branding here just so you can see how wonderful. I mean, that's a pretty good Emily Arena right there, if I don't say so myself. Exactly what it looks like in my mind when I walk up. So yes, take me home to old Emily Arena tomorrow night. But we've got a week of hockey already under our belt, and we've got a 1-2 record in that first week. So we've got plenty of hockey to talk about. Want to preview next week. Got a new shooter game. And before we really get started on the last week of hockey, I want to talk about a little contest we've got going on. Not really a contest, more like a old school style sweepstakes. Where our friends at Monkey Coffee Company are giving you the chance to win a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey. Matt was texting me. He's like, hey, what if we gave away a jersey on your show? I was like, yes, we should do that. So guess what? A lot of you guys have figured it out already. If you saw the post that's out there, a lot of people commented on it that they've done it already. But if you go to monkeycoltcoffee.com, I'm going to pull it up actually.
We'll figure this out these days.
To show you all exactly how you can sign up, because all you have to do is join the mailing list for them. So you have to enter your email in there and you are in the contest. And then next week's episode, next Monday night, we will do a random drawing of everyone who has entered their email in here. So let me pull it up real quick so we can show you how to win that jersey. And then we'll move on to some exciting Tampa Bay Lightning hockey news, including Steven Stamkos leading the NHL in points. All right, monkeycoltcoffee.com. We'll put the link in the chat here, and we'll put it in the notes for you podcast listeners. Right here, little pop out. Put your name in, put your email in, submit, and you are in it to win it. You'll be one of the first also notified when that first bag of Monkey Colt coffee is available to you. And that is, what flavor is that, Stache?
Bourbon chocolate chip.
Hockey and coffee goes together like bourbon and chocolate.
Yeah, it's like bourbon and anything.
All right, so make sure y'all get that done before our episode next week or this week if you can. But we had 3 games this week. As I mentioned, we won one of them. We lost 2 of them. So coming into opening night 1-2, let's start against the Rangers last Tuesday night. I was, if anyone was following along on Twitter at We the Thunder Pod, I was watching in an airport. Not the most ideal place to watch your first game of the season. But the boys didn't really show up to this one. Didn't have a horrible game. You got to give your hats off to the Rangers, who seemed like the better team last week.
A team that was more ready to play, I think, overall. And they started good. It's just, I mean, I think there's going to be a common theme in these first 3 games we could talk about. You know, go ahead and get it out of the way, I guess, and that's special teams, right? Because that's really what turned that game around. I think they started pretty even. It was both teams started playing really well. They were playing fast. It was pretty even hockey. It was what you expected to see out of these 2 teams coming off of their Eastern Conference Finals matchup last year in the playoffs. And then special teams, the Lightning had opportunity with the man advantage and give up a really quick, soft. I mean, Zibanejad had made a great play, but a really soft, shorthanded goal early. Then they gave up a 5-on-4 shorthanded goal. Then they gave up a power play goal. And then, and every time they had the power play, they never looked good. That was really when they looked their worst. When it was 5-on-5, it looked pretty good. And even for most of that game, there was times when they were special teams, for a while dictated that pace. But when the special teams weren't, so like concurrent, it was pretty even 5-on-5. They didn't look that bad. But yeah, that special teams that they start out this season by giving up a shorthanded goal. Not something you really want to do.
Yeah, I mean the game at first it seemed like they were pretty matched. It ended up being 3-1 loss. It was the Savannah Jad show. So, but really, we had talked about before at the beginning of the season that we thought they were going to have to score a lot in order to win games because after those top 4 defensemen, the Lightning kind of are way behind. So I was actually pretty happy to see that New York did not score a whole ton of goals. So 3-1, it looked crappy with the shorthanded goal that we gave up. Then the power play goal, it seemed like nobody could score 5-on-5. But then the Rangers did. So yeah, to me, it was opening night in New York City, team that still was trying to find. Stephanie brought it up today. They pulled names to that top power play unit. I think they're still trying to work out those lines, and I think we're going to see that for the first month or so of them rotating guys and trying to figure out what lines he wants. You've already seen him play with that top line just in the 3 games. But I have a feeling he's going to make something solid here in the next month or two and at least play it for a little while and see how that works out for us.
Yeah, I can't even keep track. Like by the end of the Pittsburgh game, like what were the lines? Were they still rolling with Stamkos, Paul, and Killer?
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't, unfortunately, due to my weekend and previous plans, I didn't get to really watch the Penguins game. And then when it was such a blood, I just, why go back and watch that again? Or watch that on replay. But I felt like that was the best line and most natural line in that Columbus game. And I feel like if you can use that line early on with Cirelli being out to kind of solidify the rest of your lines, that could be good for them. I mean, Stamkos and Killer are already showing that they still have that chemistry. And Paul's got that ability to also possess the puck, in the forecheck whenever they're in the corners together. So that seems like an anchor line to me a little bit. But at the same time, the one stat that I saw from that Penguins, I figure we're just kind of all talking about all 3 games at once, right? Instead of breaking down each individual game. But in that Penguins game, the one stat I saw that was unforgivable was 38% in the faceoff circle. That is inexcusable. But I think that's where you're missing Tony the most, right? That's where Cirelli is really hurting us the most, because I think that's really the third line in those situations when you're in your special teams and stuff like that. That's where Cirelli got a lot of his time is in the faceoff circle. So
they're only 36 on opening night against the Rangers,
right? Exactly. So
yeah.
And they still, even though they won that game against Columbus, they weren't much better. I think they were still in the mid 40s. So it's something that's already a glaring weakness. And so that might be something that forces Paul to center that third line, really. And you have Point and Stamkos and Paul as your top 3 centers, because those are probably your best faceoff guys. And then Belmar on that fourth line is pretty solid as well in the circle. So
you actually gave them a lot of credit. They're only 28% against Columbus.
Really? See,
yeah, they're. Wow. I think they're last in the league for sure.
Yes, they are.
That's egregious. Like we've been harping on that for a couple of seasons, and they've been able to get by. But right now, with their defense being what it is, that has to change.
They're lucky the 28% was against Columbus, because that's going to bite you in the ass if you continue at 28% for the rest of the season.
Yeah. So, and again, I don't think they will, and I think that's a matter of figuring out your centers and what those 3 guys. I think that's a lot of why Stamkos is still in the center of the ice, and you just got to figure out that third guy. And Paul, they brought him in to be that guy that takes those draws and stuff like that. So maybe you figure out a way to bring someone up with Stamkos and Killer on that third line, and make Paul your center on the second line, and make Paul your third line center.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that the faceoffs is an issue. I don't know where we rank as far as taking penalties, but I thought the penalties that we took were just like a lot of bad, just stupid penalties that we couldn't afford to be taken right now, even though the PK wasn't horrible over this 3-game stretch. And I think the good news is, the Rangers and the Penguins, they're probably going to be playoff teams, right? So the Lightning were in those games really until the third period. Like 6-2 Pittsburgh's a little bit blown out of proportion based on what happened in the third period. Right. The Rangers game, they were in that game. But that said, they were definitely outplayed in both of those games by both those teams. It was just clear to see. And then Columbus was the opposite. Columbus, you can tell, not quite there as a playoff team. They might get better throughout the season. They're missing one of their top players too. And that was their home opener too. So you got to think the momentum of the moment is on their side. But when Stammer smashes home 2 goals, that puts a hurting. But, we haven't talked about Stamkos yet and given him his props, really. Yeah. 4 goals, tied for first in the league, leads the league in points, also tied with 5. And just seems to be getting better. But
Crosby and Panarin has 6 each now, right? So he's at 5. So, sorry.
Panarin. Well, they might be playing right now, aren't they?
Yeah, sure. Earlier, from yesterday. But yeah.
So yeah, I mean, these Stamkos is on his way to your 62 goal projection that you made, well over 100 points. But they're going to need some help, and it's not all bad because you saw Colton score, and Colton's looked good, I think, so far this season. You even saw Foote get on the board. Perry didn't waste any time this season. Exactly, he got on the board. I'm glad Pointer scored towards the end of that Pittsburgh game just to get the monkey off his back. And, Cooch is next. Look for Cooch to score a couple tomorrow night, probably, hopefully.
Yeah. I think, we talked about that a little bit before the show. That's definitely the biggest bright spot so far. Stamkos, 11-point game streak going back to the end of last season. 29 points over that streak or that span, as Schooley pointed out before, 13 goals and 16 assists over that span. I mean, that's MVP pace right there. You know what I mean? So that's something we can definitely build on as a team, and the rest of the team can look to say, hey, our captain's still out there doing it. He's still leading the way. So you like to see that, especially for these young guys. They're going to be out there playing for him as he's chasing some records this season too. We talked about last week on the first show of the season. And that's great. And I also, to kind of move on to the next kind of point is we're going to bring somebody back here in the depth, and they're already making moves on the D line because Ian Cole's been reinstated and Perbix is coming up. And I think that would mean that maybe Fleury is the guy that's going down because they want him to play on a regular basis, and then Perbix will be the 7th guy with Cole and Myers.
Foote did not participate in practice today, and they believe he may be injured. So we'll find out tomorrow if he plays.
Fleury will still be around, but I think eventually Fleury will be the guy to go.
So enter who then?
One of those two. So Ian Cole will definitely be back in the lineup probably tomorrow night, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So that'll be something that we've been looking forward to seeing. I'm hoping that this fan base can kind of let it rest and move on and give the guy the benefit of the doubt and, embrace him as being part of this team. And I'm pretty sure that from now on, the NHLPA will make some kind of rule or agreement that there's no longer allowed to be a suspension before true hard evidence is brought forth. Allegations alone should not be.
Well, I do want to
person,
Let me read their statement real quick, because actually there's a big, issue between the NHL and the NHLPA regarding it. The NHLPA statement regarding the investigation: we're pleased that the situation with Ian Cole is now resolved and the NHL has closed the matter. However, players should never be subject to suspension or discipline in response to unsubstantiated and anonymous accusations. Removing a player from his team under the circumstances is inappropriate and grossly unfair. We are engaging the league in discussion on how to address similar situations in the future. And we talked about that last show, how we could anybody could just then, if a team's going hot, you're getting ready to play them, especially going in the playoffs or something.
Yeah, what if you're going into game 7? A random tweet can take out a goaltender.
Right.
under kind of what we're doing right now.
It could take out a Stamkos, could take out a Crosby, could take out, Patrick Kane. I mean, especially with the history he's had. And, I as much as I agree with the NHLPA, on the team side of things, you kind of have to take him out of the game, don't you?
I mean,
as an optics thing, because if you look at the comments on the NHLPA, people are ready to hang them, and I mean, instantly the comments were
cold. See, there were so many people that were already in this fan base too. Oh, screw that guy! He already blah blah blah. His ex-wife. I'm like, tomorrow is my 14-year wedding anniversary. One thing I've learned in 14 years is I don't judge anybody else's relationship, because mine is mine and theirs is theirs, and whatever happens behind closed doors, nobody fucking knows. Nobody has any clue. So whatever happened there, that's between them and not between me, and I don't judge anybody based on that. So then to suddenly have these allegations, and now people are ready to just bury this guy right away. I hope that some of those fans are able to take a step back, be like, hey, okay, no. There's nothing proven, no actual allegations, no real substantiated, evidence or anything like that. Person didn't even come forward. You got to give the guy a break. You have to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and move on and be like, okay, I embrace this guy now. You know what I mean? Because that's what society has to be. Sure, if you want to go ahead and suspend them, like you're saying, if they have to for the optics, if that's the optics, then the optics also then have to be a full pardon, if you will, or a full I apologize, we are sorry. Like the Lightning should come out and say, hey, we did what we thought we had to do as far as the public eye, but as far as a team, we still stand behind him. You know what I mean? Like there has to be both sides, give and take.
Well, I think the Lightning hasn't came out and said anything. Ian Cole did come out and said he was happy and there's going to be no other talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, basically he just said that, what is it? He was able to refute the allegations made against him. He categorically denies, and he said he won't say anything else about it. He's happy to get back with his team. Little thing on Lightning Insider there from today on that, or yesterday.
Well, I'm glad it's over. I think the one lesson learned, if you're a victim of anything like this, Twitter's not the place to go.
Well, and I mean, I know it's the culture from before, and maybe people felt like they couldn't speak up, whatever. But the time now is now. You have to be learning the lesson that if something happens, speak up then. And if you want to speak up after the fact, then you're not. I don't think it's going to be the same reaction or outcome as if you would have done it in the moment. And you have to be willing to kind of accept that as well. You know what I mean? And so, but anyways, I'm just glad that it's as far as the league is concerned, as far as the team is concerned, as far as the players are concerned, and as far as I'm concerned, the matter's behind us. And a guy that they went out and specifically brought in here as a 1-year free agent to make up space for McDonough moving is now back on the team. And that can only help us going forward, because obviously they had a plan for him.
I saw this from Stephanie here, and I've been reading some of that stuff. But you know what? When I'm looking at the people, those aren't the people that are going to be in the seats tomorrow. Yeah. Those are them armchair quarterbacks.
I've never been to a game.
I actually think he will get a loud ovation because, of course, opening night, they do introduce every single player that's on the roster. Mm-hmm. So he will get announced, whether he's starting lineup or not, he will be announced. And I actually think he'll get cheered because I think fans are behind him after he was cleared. I think 90% of the fans that I'd seen on Twitter that I know and go to games and follow the actual team and stuff were behind him until there was actually any kind of proof or anything, not just off of one tweet.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I'm kind of debating on whether or not I'm going to get last minute tickets to go down there tomorrow. So it's my anniversary, so I'm not sure what our plan is. So, but if I'm there, I'll be cheering for sure.
Sounds like a beautiful anniversary to me.
I was thinking the same thing, Mrs. Stache is definitely into the hockey thing. It's actually little Stache. It's still a little loud for him, and I haven't got him any ear cans yet. So maybe I need to be a good dad and get him good hearing protection.
It's about time.
about time.
All right. So yeah, Ian Cole, probably, playing tomorrow night, home opener. I was kind of looking up like, hey, what's different at old Amalie Arena this season? And I just couldn't find anything. Like, it seems like it's the same old Amalie for the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, I've heard some people complain or not point out. Some people have pointed out that some of the food options are different. Like
Still got the ice cream though.
Barbecue place is now general. It's no longer a Holy Hog license. It's just a general barbecue place. I guess
Portillo's is gone.
Portillo's is gone.
Publix Plaza now.
Oh, now it's exactly no longer Chase Plaza. It's now Publix Plaza, or as we all know, it's going to be Perbix Plaza, right? We know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially when it gets sent down on Wednesday.
Great. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird though, right? Because it's been a little while since we've kind of had no big news in the off season, and honestly, I'm kind of fine with that. It's kind of nice just to have a regular old off season, even though it's a little short. It's nice to just be like, okay, get back into the groove of things like a regular old hockey season. And so
even
far,
the team store is still selling the same old garbage.
We'll be expected.
The only new merch that I've seen is, got the 30 on it, right?
Yeah.
The 30th anniversary.
Not that much yet. So.
I still don't understand why they don't do some kind of, fan research group where they talk to fans. They did that a couple years ago, and that's actually where some of those shirts that came out, the Harvard shirt, the game Andre. I forget what points was. Yeah, I forget what points was, but that actually came out from one of the groups. Not saying who, but Thunderbolts. And actually someone designed one of the pucks, and they won like a contest and stuff. And I just don't understand why they don't go back to some kind of, I know several people, one Adrian D'Souza, who's usually on here, after going to, I think it was Vegas the first year, and seeing their team store, we had asked about some things and they shut it down immediately. I just don't understand why we have the same crap every year.
Yeah. It's really hard. And it's even like Fanatics, man. I keep trying to go and finding certain style of hats, and they're like, they've just mailed it in because they have all the deals. Like they've got exclusivity now, so they don't have to compete. They don't have to give a shit if not everybody likes a freaking snapback hat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they don't give a shit. It's ridiculous. They've got some really actually some of their hats this season are better than I've seen in the last few years, and yet for me, I'm a fitted or stretch fit guy, flex fit guy. I'm not a snapback hat, and that's basically all you can find these days are snapbacks. And I mean, I'm into them more than I used to be back in the day. I used to be like, no snapbacks at all, period. But I've got quite a few now. But like, I'm more so of a flex fit kind of guy. So, but yeah, they don't give a crap anymore. There is the one site though that's a little bit better than the actual team store because they have their own team website, right? Like tbsports.com or whatever. Right. And they have it's stuff that's not on Fanatics, and it's stuff that's not always in the team store. So like there's still that place that you can go every once in a while and find some cool stuff. But yeah, like I said, I mean, guys, everyone that's watched the show, listened to the show, knows that where I stand. I think it's still a travesty to this day that they got rid of shots to put in that team store. I think it's a complete miss because
I just want to say, give me back shots.
Yeah, exactly. They had plenty of merchandise areas inside the store, and if they wanted to do something where the public could get into and not have to go in the arena, there are other options to do that, and it didn't have to be at the expense of the coolest part of the Amalie Arena.
Yeah,
and you can see they're still desperate trying to figure out other places to make up for shots, and they still can't. Between the pipes, it's great, but it's not that. The Budweiser deck is great. It's not that. It's not what shots was. And even having a Cigar City on the other side, it's close, but even still, I just feel like it's always too busy. It's always too bad. It just isn't the same ambiance, man. But again, you come from certain eras, I guess, as a Lightning fan. And that was the heyday of my great times down there.
Shots
when
era.
Shots were there. The Shots era.
Yeah. If you know what Shots is, then you're an OG.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that old dance club hit of the ancients.
Speaking of merch, I know a lot of you guys have seen this. This is not
official.
This is Ali his attempt at creating what the reverse retros are going to be. Did this for all the teams. He was tweeting at me that he is pretty sure it's going to be a white base on this jersey, which I just don't see happening because they're primarily going to wear these at home, which usually you wear the darks at home. So I don't know. They could choose to, I guess, wear white at home whenever they want, right? So maybe that is the direction they're going to go.
Yeah.
But
maybe
what do you
because
guys think?
they heard so much shit about the black sweaters from all the fans, they decided to actually go white. Just real quick, it's cool. Mike Rotunda in the comments saying Shots was awesome. He remembers sleeping behind the bar one night during the 04 run when we had to camp out for the $10 tickets. That's awesome because if you, again, ever listen to the show, you know that's a big part of me and Shooty's experience becoming Lightning fans together is we were there for all those games and we were some of the first people sleeping out there in Thunder Alley. And I'm sure that I, quote unquote, slept behind the bar there one or two nights as well. So good times, good memories there.
That's why they're putting me out there now.
Yeah, right. But going back to the sweater, I mean, I want to like it. I want to force myself to like it. And there are things about it that I do like. But really the sleeves and forcing it together with a white background, like I get that it's the rain on the water and then it's a lightning storm. I get the artistic intent behind it, but
it's a little too much, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little too busy, and it doesn't work with the white, I think.
Right? Yeah, those flames on the side, the best thing that could happen is it caught on fire. And those are real flames, and it just gone.
It would be nice horrible. If they just came out with actual sleeveless hockey, or at least a short sleeve hockey sweater, right? But they can't because then the pads would be a weapon, you know. But
this is just ridiculous. If I do not see how anybody, I mean, well, there's going to be some, but I guarantee you they will sell more of these Chinese ones because there ain't a chance in hell that many people's going to spend $200 and something on these. Instead, they'll buy the $60 ones.
The Steve Mandingo says it's like the night we all designed the shirts on here, and I don't disagree. This looks like a Stache special at the end of an hour and a half long show when I came in hot on an empty stomach.
I thought ours looked a little better.
Yeah, and like that's me at my worst, which I still don't think we've had one of those episodes yet. Like, but I'm usually not that bad when we do the designs. But I'm saying if I had been the end of an hour and a half long show, this is probably something close to what I would have come up with. Although there's no stripes on it. You know, I'm old timey. I gotta have some kind of a stripe on it too. So yeah,
if you go back, we'll retweet them tonight. We made our own jerseys during the off season, our own predictions for the reverse retros, and they were definitely. We all picked kind of this design because that's the rumor. It's going to be this Storm jersey. We didn't go with white though. We went with kind of the black base or the blue base and different designs on the chest with different logos. So
I think it would be really weird if they decided to go white. I really do. It's going to be either black or blue, I think.
But the only thing that makes me think they might do that is because how many people liked the Stadium Series jersey being white, because we've never really had another white jersey. But I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be white.
But you know, I'm sitting here looking at McD's Big Mac sweater, and it's not just the white; it's like the blue with the silver stitching, and like so much of it together is what made that. It wasn't just that it was white; it was just that it was really fucking sweet. So, yeah, we'll see. I think that's going to be a travesty, though, if that's close to what it's like. No offense to the designer.
Do you think they also come out with a 30-year style jersey?
They have to. That's the other thing I was going to say. You kind of, I knew eventually one of us was going to bring that up tonight, but yeah, for sure. I think that they're going to have this one that maybe go 2 or 3 seasons, this reverse one, or this Saturday night special is what I call it. Right. Mm-hmm. But they definitely at some point, especially since they were going to have that October 1st event that got canceled because of Hurricane Ian. I just want to specify which Ian we're talking about on the show
Yeah.
because of Hurricane Ian. I think there might have been an opportunity that they were thinking about a 30th anniversary sweater. And with all the cash grabs that they have these days with advertising and marketing and merchandising, I can't imagine they don't have something in the book.
Well, we saw the 25 year, they brought back that old lettering style and everything.
Yeah.
They also did it on the St. Louis night where the 26 was on everything, and they had that old letter styling. I'd imagine they got to bring back that kind of lettering style or something. And last year for Adidas, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta imagine Adidas is gonna try to push any kind of jersey they can out.
Yeah. Steve Mandigo is a little salty. Steve, he says, no, they'll just put a patch on it and call it good, just like they did to the STMs this year, and with only a magnet. So.
Yeah, SSTM's got a nice little packet in the mail, and basically it was, hey, you're an STM, and here's you a magnet.
Okay, I forgot that I totally went off the rails. Never mind. I did go off the rails.
You were drinking during this show.
It was the end of an hour and a half long show, and I came in hot on an empty stomach. What do you know?
I do like your design, though. Putting the boats in the water. You got 3 Stanley Cups throughout. You got the ice hole on the crest, and the number 1 bullshit I'm wearing right now. So I can't not like that. That's some creativity, folks.
I'm telling you, you can't pay for that kind of creativity.
Schooley went with the black base with the. This is interesting. I don't know if we'll ever see this one again. So I don't know if you nailed this one, Schooley.
If it was a black, if you left the arms black too, and then put my favorite thing, some blue stripes on the arms, I think to match the waves, I think you might be closer. Honestly.
Well, no, I was talking about that logo. I call it the comic book style.
Yeah.
Lightning logo from the 2000s. Yeah. And I don't know if we're ever going to see that one again.
Yeah. Me neither.
Guess we'll find out.
It's really weird too. I've always thought that bolt, the lightning bolt itself, was really strangely drawn.
Yes,
it was. Even as like a comic book style, I always felt like it was just a little too it's like someone had a seizure rather than was actually drawing a lightning bolt. But yeah, I really think once again, Shooter takes it the most seriously, and I think the only thing wrong with yours is the logo. I don't think it's going to be the club brand, if you will.
I'm still waiting for them to put that on a jersey. They haven't done it yet.
Yeah, because that's always like a shoulder patch. I think that's exactly what I said when we did this.
But that's what a lot of the teams do for these.
Yeah,
maybe not the reverse retros,
exactly
but alternate jerseys.
We also said the same thing then. So
I think consistent on this. You got to get that history in there. You got to get that combination.
Oh wait, did I finally win something and you guys never told me? Look at that.
Yeah, we forgot to bring that up.
Yeah.
Do we have once again 12 votes again?
I mean,
finally, I win something.
There's only 10 votes on this.
10 this time. We had fewer votes than the last time we did this.
Listen, at least I finally won something.
You always win those. What do you mean?
No,
finally? Those things you always win.
You won the I think the last one.
No, I didn't. I didn't win the Standing Series one. No way. I know I didn't.
think so. I mean, mine was the closest.
I had to been Schooley.
No.
Or Shooter, I mean.
Maybe. It definitely wasn't me. And then when we just did the pick your teams with Greg Wolf, I think Wolf won.
Yeah, Greggy.
You had a strong showing though. You almost
look at that. I didn't even see that. 51 votes for me.
I still think mine was
51 votes.
I still think I'll have the better team at the end. I really do.
Yeah. The Wolf was really, really pining for extra votes here on Twitter. So, all right, back to some hockey games here.
Life, back to reality. Hey, funny.
Aren't some of these teams like one injury away from this right here? Because you saw Murray goes down for. And there's no soup anymore.
They're in trouble now.
How about the fact that they were already at 50 contracts, and they had like $4 in cap space, and they couldn't re-sign. They couldn't bring up a goalie to back up another, so they were going to have to put him either on LTIR or put somebody else on waivers to bring up. Like, it was insane, the situation they were looking at if they didn't put Murray on LTIR. So, but the funny thing is, then they go back and bring Wayne Simmons back, and like these other guys are like, I'm like, so that's the answer. That's the answer. Then Murray's got it, but let's bring back Wayne Simmons. That's the guy. That's the guy that's going to bring.
He'll stop some goals,
right?
More like he's going to cause you more penalty kills.
Exactly.
That's what he's going to do.
The guy, listen, mad respect to that guy. I like that guy. I think he did it the right way, being a black athlete in this league. But compared to other people, no names, he's done. He's past his prime. He's just a liability now at this point, especially for a team like that. Speaking of though, when we sit here and poke fun at the Leafs losing to the Coyotes 4-2, I do just want to remind people, because I still think it's not going to really get better before it gets worse, or at least stays the same for the Lightning. Go back and look at last year's October, because come out opening night, you get beat by Pittsburgh pretty bad, right? Then you come back. It took overtime and 7 goals to beat Detroit. It took overtime to beat Washington. And then they lost to Florida, Colorado, and Buffalo all in a row. And they were not close. They were not close wins at all. 4-1, 4-3 in a shootout, and then 5-1 to Buffalo. They lost 5-1 to Buffalo. So
2020 was a slow start too.
Yeah, exactly. So this team not historically, but I think in their best overall seasons, October isn't always their strongest month. It really isn't.
Well, we talked about the schedule as a whole this month. Yeah. You got 2 home games.
Exactly.
And they're both this week.
Right. Yeah.
So
and then the Ian Cole thing, right as to start the season, didn't do this team any favors. And you already have 2 of your big minute guys, and especially Anthony Cirelli. He's a top 6 guy who gives so much versatility and makes other guys more versatile too. Because of he's so versatile, that makes the Hagels and the Domestikovs and the Pauls that much more versatile, right? Because you have the Cirelli that can be that third guy that you know for sure, and those other guys you can plug and play around. So it's going to take a little while to find out how to get this offense good enough until Cirelli gets back. But I'm confident that this is the guy. This again, and this is why I don't think it's bullshit that Cooper doesn't get more love for Jack Adams, because his teams don't always start great. Even when they did set the record, they didn't have necessarily the greatest start to the season. And he always has to kind of find a way to get these guys to come together, get his lines together, figure out chemistry. And eventually they get it together and they go on these deep runs and they win championships. And let's not forget that even though we didn't win the Stanley Cup last year, still undefeated in the East in the playoffs for the last 3 seasons. So no team in the East has beat us in the playoffs. So,
but do remember now that high blocker side has now been exposed thanks to last year's
I don't think so.
Playoffs.
I still think that's a bit of a myth right now. And I think that some of those
that's where you saw the teams shooting.
Yeah. Well, sure, and they're going to try, and they're going to get their opportunities there, so you're going to see it there. But again, even in that Columbus game, I saw I'm like, oh, people go say it. And a couple of those goals weren't really a high blocker side. One came off of a deflection. Another one, it definitely wasn't. I don't think it was an intentional shot. It was just kind of a moving puck. So it's going to be commentary, but we all know what Vasi does too with negative energy and negative commentary. He eats it and he shits out excellence. So, eventually I'm not worried about the guy between the pipes. That's the one guy and one thing about this team I am not worried about.
I mean, you have to find something negative to find about this guy.
Right.
So, I mean, and if that's the only weakness you're going to be able to find on him.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I wouldn't be so mad if we actually went a season and it wasn't Vasi in the Vezina race and Hedman in the Norris race only to be disrespected one more time. You know what I mean? Let them just kind of focus on playing a great season. Not that they care about the individual awards, but just not even have their names brought up when they're not going to get the recognition anyway. The guy that's a right winger playing defenseman is the guy that's going to win the Norris Trophy again. You know what I mean? So it's the new hot flash in the pan guy in New York that's supposedly better. Okay, that's fine. We know where our bread gets buttered, and we know that we have the guy that we want in between the pipes back there.
Although he did look good for the Rangers playing opening night. And then of course they started that Igor's better chant. That didn't take long for them to start chanting that. But he did look pretty good opening night.
I mean, I'm not taking anything away from
score
him.
As soon as they started chanting that.
Yes.
With 5-on-3. I mean,
Still counts.
That does. So
all right, well, let's wrap this up with a new weekly segment. Shooter's Challenge. We need some music for this. I'll bring some music next show.
Can we go before we start this game? We're only 42 minutes into it, real quick. I just want to go by some of these other teams. It's kind of weird to me how we're a week into the season and there's still some teams that have only played one game. Winnipeg, one game. St. Louis, one game. There was a couple more that I've seen, but how about San Jose? 0-4. Vancouver 0-3. Minnesota 0-2. Detroit finally. Lalondre got that.
I thought it was booing Fleury.
Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be like the most educated and long-standing hockey fandom in the lower 48 and continents? We're the Minnesota. We know more about hockey than any other American market. We're booing the Flower. Right.
Yeah. You have Columbus 0-3, New Jersey 0-2, Ottawa 0-2. It's just this season for me almost seems like it's 1 week into it, so you can't say much, but it really seems like there's a lot of parity. Vegas still hasn't lost yet, 3-0. Calgary's 2-0. Dallas 2-0. When you have Dallas 2-0, there's obviously something wrong with the season. Toronto 2-2, Carolina 2-0, Washington 2-2. I mean, Tampa is sitting at 1-2, and we still have three teams under us: Ottawa, New Jersey, and Columbus, with only a -3 goal differential right now. Toronto's sitting at number 3 with a -1. Carolina's first place with a +4. So,
yeah, again. So let's not forget that the Lightning, the last few years, have not had the greatest October as it is. And then not every team is out there just crushing it like some expect them to. So it's a weekend. We have had some good things to talk about. Again, I'm here for Stamkos this year. I'm telling you right now. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. It's just a matter of him getting healthy. And I said, if there's nothing more dangerous than a happy, healthy, hungry superstar. And that's Steven Stamkos right now. He's the happiest he's ever been as a professional athlete, between his family life, his professional life, the team, everything. He's feeling the best he ever has. He's in the best shape, I think, of his career. He's stronger than he's ever been, clearly, to me. He's the strongest he's ever been. And his skills haven't diminished whatsoever. And his hockey IQ is only better than it's ever been. So I've just been waiting for this final. It's like for all those Dragon Ball Z nerds out there, it's like final form Cell. It's final form Stamkos. And I think that we're probably still in for at least 2 or 3 more seasons of this version of him.
I think it's fatherhood, actually.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's funny
now, and also having TB12 in the Bay Area and seeing the example of, hey, you can still play well past what people say you do if you maintain your body. I don't think you can play to 45.
Just get divorced.
But hey, I'm not talking about necessarily recent, at least necessarily recent things and being a family. But I'm talking about like at least the last couple of years he's been here. You know what I mean? It's a change in attitude, I think, of knowing, hey, maybe I'm not ready to hang him up at the end of this contract, and maybe this isn't the end of my career, maybe I'm still just in the true prime, maybe not the physical prime, but the full culmination of all of his skills and experience and all that. So, and we talked about it ad nauseum last season. He is by far, in my mind, well, not say by far, but he is the best captain in the league. Maybe there's 2 or 3 other guys that you could say are as good as him, but I don't think anybody's better as a captain in this league than Steven Stamkos right now. So as far as like leadership and also still producing, you know what I mean? Because I think a captain of your team should still be leading the way some way in some kind of category, whether it's like power play or penalty kill or time on ice or something like that. They should also be a leader statistically and not just a leader in the locker room. So for Stamkos to still be doing it on the stat sheet and on the ice and off the ice, he's one of the greatest captains in the history of this game.
I love watching him on the ice, but I think probably my next highlight in his career will be to watch the number 91 get raised up into the rafters at Amalie. I think that's going to be an amazing night, only because there's so much more generation of fans of Tampa Bay Lightning fans since Steven Stamkos has entered the league.
Well, here's the thing, though. He's going to be our very first truly, because, I mean, Vinny was drafted here, but he didn't finish here. Stamkos is not going to ever play in any sweater other than Tampa Bay, period. And he'll be the first. And Hetty will probably be right. And who knows? I'm still not out there. Hetty might end up pulling a Chara or something like that and going on a Perry and going on a
I don't think so.
Run. I don't think so, but I think he would be capable of it if he wanted to. I don't know that he would. I think he would want to be the second guy up there right behind his buddy Stamkos as the first 2 guys to play their entire career here. But Stamkos is going to be the first. And so that's really the difference, right? That's the difference between him and number 4 and number 26 is that not only was he drafted here like VL4, but he's going to be here his whole career. And he's never not going to live here. It's not like he's going to retire and he'll be like if any. He'll retire, but he'll still be here. He'll still spend time here. He won't just retreat to Toronto. This will still be his home even after he retires. So Stamkos hangs it up. It's going to be the saddest day in Tampa Bay sports history, but also the most glorious day because as far as I'm concerned, he is our number 1 athlete in the history of Tampa Bay sports right now of all 3 teams. There's nobody higher than him on the day that, yes, absolutely.
Tampa Bay royalty.
Tampa Bay, the king of the court, if you will. And what's cool is that this actually starts to open up the idea of an actual just Tampa Bay Sports Hall of Fame overall, right? And I think that we're not too far away from having enough players that have played here and have that kind of notoriety that here in the next 5 to 10 years we may see
an actual. His VL4 gave him his first goal.
Yep.
No. This was Hedman. So
VL4 gives him his first goal. He gives him the assist.
But yeah, I don't think we're that far away. And then that's something maybe we could even start talking about and bring it up on the show. We could be one of the first people to talk about it because I don't know if I've heard anybody else talk about that yet. But actually having a Tampa Bay Sports Hall of Fame. And I'm talking about even like, Rowdies, USF, UT.
Where's Matt Grothe at?
Even some of the high schools. Yeah, Grothe. Yeah, you know what I mean? Oh, damn it. The guy Geiger, you know what I mean? Matt Geiger, that's another guy local, you know what I mean? Like those are all guys that are people that could be.
Matt Geiger didn't play any.
Local?
Are you talking about they have to be on local sport teams or from the area?
Well, both. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Because you had Hunt who played at Largo High. So some home opener facts. That Vassier's won 7 straight starts versus Philly and never lost to Philly at home. Stamkos and Kucherov have each recorded 4 straight multi-point home games versus Philly, and Point has recorded a point in all 5 career home games versus Philly.
Yeah, but the writing's on the wall for this team to come out and really put on a good show tomorrow. It really is. I mean, they finally get to come home, and they know, like you said, Shooter, we'll let 2 home games this month to start out, so this is one of their only chances to come home and have a good showing. And luckily you get
IMGs and Sarasota Bradenton area.
Yeah,
Close enough.
Yeah.
So
What about names? What do you guys think about names so far this year?
so far so good. It's just a matter of finding where he's going to play.
Yeah.
He's showing everything he said he's done, or like his evolution. I'm seeing everything there that we want to see from him. It's just a matter of figuring out where he fits. You know,
I still think he's fast. I would love to see him.
He's still playing fast.
I'd love to see him there with Point and Cooch.
Yeah, here's my only problem, though. Here's my only problem. He, once again, I see him coming in. Braden Point special. Can he, for one time, just skate the fucking puck in instead of stopping?
Yeah.
Well, and now Hagel does the same thing. Hagel loves to do the same exact thing. And they've been playing them on the same line, which drives me nuts.
I'm like, no, listen, one of you guys has to, and if there's one note, and this is a segue, perfect segue to like what the Columbus game, well, the first two games, I'm like, can the Lightning not play with the puck on their stick anymore? Like they try to pass their way into every situation. At a certain point, you have to skate your way into a situation. And maybe like the casual person doesn't necessarily understand what I'm saying. The player understands what I'm saying more because it's like player terminology. But you have to skate your way with the puck on your stick sometimes. You have to skate through a little bit of a stick check or a little bit of a body check. You can't just try and pass the puck every time you see a defender or the opposing player coming at you. You have to be able to skate your way through the neutral zone. You can't pass your way through the neutral zone. That's fundamentals right there. We are like, right? You don't want to do that. Like there's opportunity, sure, stretch pass here and there, you're going to make that play. But consistently, you're going to go nowhere, especially on the power play if you're trying to pass your way through the neutral zone. And I think that's something that this team really needs when they get to that point where they get in these slumps and they get a little confused and it looks like they're not playing the hockey. That's what it is. They start overpassing. We talk about overpassing, and I'm not talking about passing out of scoring situations. I'm talking about moving the puck up and down the ice and having position to be able to set up your offense and set up your agenda, right? You have to skate your way into those situations.
Well, at this point, we've now seen like 4 years of it, 5 years of it. It's almost predictable at this point.
Yeah.
So they're going to need to switch it up some.
Yeah. Well, and I will say the one thing is that it was kind of strange to see Perry come off of that fourth line against Columbus. But I really think that he's trying to send a message to Corey Perry saying, look, man, we're going to need you to score some goals this year. To your point, Thomas, in our first show, that the Lightning are going to have to score more. Mm-hmm. I think that they're saying, hey, he's saying, look, dude, you can't just be passing your way through the line and hopefully you're on the fourth line and hopefully you get some goals. He's like, no, I think Cooch says Perry still has it. I think Perry easily still has a 20-goal season in him, depending on who he's playing with and depending on his situations. And he just has to believe he has it still. And he has to be able to start shooting the puck more rather than passing the puck. And I think that's why you saw him come off of that fourth line.
And I think we need to get to those 5 goals for the rest of the team to be able to sit back and play defense, because we are going to need everybody back there playing defense in that game. Moose, I thought really was good in the first part of the Pittsburgh game. I thought the wheels kind of came off a little bit towards that end. I think it was some Moose, some our defense, some breakdowns there. Power play opportunities that Pittsburgh got that we really should have took those penalties. But you get those 5 goals, get an early lead up there. You can sit some of your guys back there and get more of a Maroon, a Perry, or somebody sitting there towards your net and helping your goalie out.
Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of time. Honestly, we lost. Not only did we lose McDonough, Hedman lost his pairing. You know, and I thought Foote, which is something we haven't talked about so far on the show, a lot of people have been on his ass and saying Foote's not going to be good enough. Blah blah. I thought Foote played, really, really well in that Columbus game, really well. Not just that he had the point, but overall, and even the first game, he played really good. I thought he was one of the better guys. Sergachev continues to me to be inconsistent and continues to play out of his head. He's overthinking out there. He's playing out of position. There's so many times that he was supposed to stay down and make a play, and he came out into the slot area, and then the play was made behind him, or He was down too far low in the offensive zone, and then the play got made again behind him. So as much as I do believe in the long run he'll be worth his money, he's still something or somebody on that coaching staff needs to get him to get out of his own head and just go play hockey. Because I feel like he's now is like, oh, I've got to produce now. I've got to be the next guy. Obviously, that's why they paid me. That's why they moved. I mean, they moved. That's in his mind. You think they moved McDonough for me, right? So I mean, they moved one of the best defensemen to play the game to keep me. So that's a lot of pressure. I think that he just needs to calm down a little bit and stop overthinking it, because he's still making some of those same mistakes that we have all been pretty critical about him making.
And I think that Russian pressure. I mean, now you got 4 on the team. I mean, you got probably arguably one of the best goalies in the game, Russian. You have one of the best scorers in the game, Russian. You're bringing in Kuch, one of his better friends, and Nemesnikov. And then you got Sergachev, who I thought the first season he really didn't. If you look at the first season they were together, Sergachev wasn't really out with Kucherov and Vasi much. And then names kind of went away, and then Sergachev kind of put himself into that little Russian trio. And now here comes names coming back in, and it's like, hey,
calm down, bro. This is high school.
Let me in. Oh yes, it's very much.
Calm down. No, it's not. That's not. Calm down.
All right.
Down.
So,
anyways, someone in the chat who is at Michael Sachs was asking that how long Kuch is signed for. 26-27 is the last season, so this season 4 more, so 5 seasons total. We talked about this last year too. That's Killorn's in the last year of his contract, and there's only next season is Stamkos' last year under contract.
Is it really already?
Yeah,
23-24. What, $8.5 million? So think about that. If you're JBB,
He's gonna have to get a raise.
I mean, if you're JBB, you're just waiting for that day, right? Because Stamkos isn't going anywhere in 2 years. At least I don't think so. Not now.
I don't know. Hopefully
Obviously,
not.
based on what I said earlier, 10 minutes ago, clearly I think there's going to be at least another 3-year deal. He might not play another 3 full years, depending on what happens with the team and blah, blah, blah. But I think he'll sign at least a 3-year deal, and it'll probably be like a $5 million contract, honestly. I don't think he'll be looking for real money. I think he'll be looking for, nothing to piss the league off. What do you think? You think he still would be worth, over $8 million after 2 years from now?
Some players
Just to hear.
try to get as much money as they can while they can. So
I don't think Stamkos will, because
I don't think he's that, but I don't think he signs for under what he makes. I think they have to give him a little bump. He's going to stay in Tampa, finish his career here, but they would have to give him a little bump to keep him here.
Man, I don't know. I just think that we've
all
already
right, let's cross that road.
Yeah,
we get there. We got opening night tomorrow. We're talking about Stamkos getting re-signed in 2 years.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
What kind of podcast is this?
we could go ahead and talk about the trade deadline and where
one of the best. I mean, people are already burying the Buccaneers because they lost, over the weekend. So we could go ahead and bury the Lightning after 3 games, right? We're done.
All right, here's what we need to do. We need to play the shooter challenge.
Yeah.
Let me explain how the shooter challenge works.
Yeah, one sec. I just want to, just because I like to give our shout out to our fans. Mike was the one asking about Kuch's contract, mostly because he thinks that Kuch won't re-sign after that, and I could see that. I could see Kuch being the one.
Kuch wouldn't re-sign.
I could see Kuch being the one.
I could see us trading Kuch.
I was gonna say I could see the Lightning doing a Vinny Lecavalier type thing, a Marty St. Louis type thing. If he continues to play
2 years from now, Stamkos needs a contract. Kucherov still making $9.5 million, but 4th in the team in scoring and not being the Connor McDavid that everyone thought he was supposed to be. That I could see that. I could see trading Kuch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he has, and he does have an NMC. He does have a trade clause, but who knows when that kicks in too, or when that gets modified. It would probably be modified that year. Actually, the last 3 years, something like that. So, anyways, interesting. Okay, we can maybe
Let's talk
have
about hockey this year, though.
Well, maybe one of our
very
slow.
concerned about the future.
It's a slow week. It's a slow week. It just barely got started. There's not that much to talk
Opening
about.
night tomorrow.
We're skeptical about your new content shooter. We don't know. I don't know if we believe in this or not. Let's go in blind.
I don't know. I just want to talk about stuff that's happening this year. Can we do that? Maybe even this week, like tomorrow's game. Does anyone know? Where the game can be seen?
Live in person at Amalie Arena.
Yeah.
And
it's finally on Bali for the first time. Oh, it's on NHL Network. That's right. The third. Yeah, that's right. Forgot. It's on NHL
don't ask
Network.
Thomas Schooley 15 minutes before the game starts what time or where you can watch the game. You can watch it downtown at Amalie, or you can watch it on good old ESPN. That's on NHL Network. It's an NHL
that's
Network.
right.
Yeah, ESPN. Philly. And all right, so first thing we need to do is you need to find someone that is in the chat, because how this game will work is it is us three against each other every single week, and the Thunder, which is somebody from the chat, will be representing the entire fan base who will be playing against us each week. So you got to pick one person. Whoa. I say you got Mike up there, so Mike's going to have to answer these questions too.
Oh.
So 3 questions. We'll go back next week, see who won. We add those up throughout the season and see who the grand champion is throughout the week. What's very important with this is who we play this week. So Philly tomorrow, 2-0. Philly's a week 2-0 though. They beat the Devils, they beat the Canucks, not very good teams. So they get to play the big boys tomorrow night in our house. So we got Philly Friday, going down south to Florida. And then Saturday, back at home against the New York Islanders. So those are the 3 games, the 3 questions this week. And I think the first 2 might be the same every week, and the third one might change. We'll see. We'll probably change it up a little bit here. But the first question is, who is going to be the highest scoring player on the Bolts this week? And this question will work like a draft. If Stache goes first and picks Stamkos, which he will, then I can't pick Stamkos. We have to pick different players. And you also have to put up a number for points. So if your player gets it, you get 1 point. If you get the number of points correct, you get an extra point for this question. So we'll give it to Stache. We'll give it to you first. Which player is going to score the most points this week? I'll just type it in right now.
I mean, right? Yeah. I mean, I've got to go with the hot hand. He's on the streak, right?
Echo Killer, your guy.
He's on. Listen, he's going to be second.
Oh shit! Okay.
Oh, sorry. All of a sudden, we can't hear him anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Stammer, because it seems like Stache can't talk.
Difficulties.
Swooped right in there.
Victor was talking about you finally getting a cool nickname instead of your boring ass government name. I've been vying for the professor since day one. Nobody picked up on that one. So how about just the wet blanket? That's what we'll call you.
We can get a sound effect for that too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very moist. It's gonna be a moist sound.
I'll make a sound effect tonight.
So yeah, I think it's gonna be 3 games for the next week, right?
So, I just went over them. We got 3 games,
right?
So points and you got
Stamkos, and I'm thinking 7 points.
A 7-point week. Yeah. Schooley, and we also need Mike Sneed. We need your pick here. You can get it in before Schooley.
So I'll say point, and 4 points.
Point with 4. I'm gonna go with Cooch with 6, and that leaves the Thunder out there. We'll give the Thunder next pick here first. But Mike, we need an answer for your highest scoring player next week. He's going names to go off with 6. All right. Next question is, what will the Lightning's record be this week? This one, you can pick the same as someone else because there's not 4 different combinations of well, there is, but we're not going to play that game. So Mike put out your record for this week. I'll start it off here with 2-1. Again, we can pick the same thing on this one. If you get it right, get a point.
2-0-1.
Oh, pulling in the tie. 3 games.
3-0.
3-0.
No.
Mike, what do you think? 3 games this week. What's Lightning's record going to be? Well, he puts his response in. We got one more, and Mike's got the 2-1 record as well. The last one, and this is the one that we might change from week to week just to kind of like change it up a little bit. Which player will get the most penalty minutes for the Lightning over this 3 game span? Mike's need, let us know. As soon as you put a player in there, you get rights to them. We can't pick the same player, so we'll start with Schooley this time.
I'm gonna say Maroon.
Shooty, I'll go last on this one.
I'm gonna go Killer.
Wow. Sneed says Hagel.
I mean, he's good at taking bad penalties.
Well, he's good at drawing penalties, but he's also good at taking penalties.
One other obvious, it's true. One other obvious one here. Actually, two guys you could pick from.
I thought anyone was going to say Sergachev.
I was going to say Sergachev, and I changed
I was going
it.
last. I was going last because I thought I was like, okay, I won't take the odds on Sergachev.
So we'll revisit this. 4 points up for grabs here. And we'll try this again next week, and we'll pick somebody else
NFL
to be
Sunday
the Thunder
pregame shows. Because I like this. It's like our own version of like the pick'ems, right?
Yeah, it's like our own.
On those NFL shows, they do like the weekly pick'ems, and they keep track of the scores. I like this. It's a way to do pick'ems and not have to pick every game for a week straight.
No, but I wouldn't mind doing that. Like a game of the week.
Yeah. We can also add that. I'm in for that. Like we pick like 3 games of the week, so it's an odd number, right?
And
then whoever has the best record of that gets a point too.
Do like a pick 'em on that, yeah.
All right, we know who makes the games.
We could always look at the ESPN. Yeah, well, what the national games are, maybe, or whatever. You know what I mean?
He's like, I'm the gamekeeper, don't you guys?
How dare you? How dare you have event on this show?
As my daughter would say, I am the game master. I don't know what that means, but it's a thing.
In case you guys didn't realize this, we do not ever know these games in advance. Very rarely will Shooter tell us, hey, this is coming up. This is what you got to look.
This is what I love about our show is that while we generally are, informed as fans ourselves, and we do have a commentary throughout the week with each other, and we do have, a little bit of talk about what's going to happen. Really, it's Shooter gives us notes day of or day before. Like basically, there's our comments or our talking points, and then he's always got something like this to keep it real, which I love. It's almost like being on the set of a real movie or something, where like the director is withholding certain things just to elicit real in the moment reactions, and that's what makes Shooter a great producer. And I think something that I don't know if there is a category for this and the Creative Loafing Best of the Bay, but maybe we should create one: Best Technical Producer or Technical Director of a live sports show in Tampa Bay. Fucking Shooty has it hands down. I'll say that right now. Shooty is the
I'm
best.
the only one I know, so absolutely.
Well, I don't think people understand that it's like a low key shot at the fact that nobody else really produced.
And if you're watching us on Facebook, there's a little thing that says give free stars. If you have not done it already, give us those free stars. Of course, if you want to pay for extra stars, you can pay for extra stars and give us the stars. If you see at the very, very top of this comment, if we get up to 500,000 stars, we are throwing a huge all-expense party for all of the followers. So
it's going to be in my backyard. We'll have a bounce house. It's going to be fucking awesome.
If you guys have not given those free stars, it does allow you to give free stars to us. Hit those free stars. If you want to buy stars, you can do that too.
Well,
And some of your stars will go to Thomas Schooley's snacking fund.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
yes, I think Steve, you are our biggest star giver, man. We appreciate you.
And you know
We owe
what?
You at least 3 beers.
Yeah. And also, I know how to get the people what they want.
Yeah.
Mike's name, Bounce House, get my wallet now. See?
Wait,
I know
can
I know how to throw a party.
Can we also do like one of those things where they throw the ball and it like you guys get dunked if they hit the bullseye or something?
A dunk
What do you
tank?
call that? Dunk tank. Yeah.
Dunk tank.
Let's do a dunk tank.
Yeah. Yes. Well, hey, no, I will say that for sure. Like at the Bounce House, we'll get an adult size Bounce House. That has to happen too. But for sure, if we do a party that if you guys hit 500,000 stars, we have to do a dunk tank that all 3 of us spend time in, right? That has to be a thing.
Send those stars. Get those stars in now.
But
What's funny
I would say this though, just real quick. If we would do it, it would be all expenses as far as like, you know, food, beverage, blah, blah, blah. But I think that there would still be, knowing us and what we're trying to do this year, an opportunity to do charity things. So maybe that would be like extra tickets for a charity to dunk the hosts, or, you know, like, remember what we used to do when they had the bake sales and you had like there's like musical chairs, but you had like baked goods or whatever, like under your chair. You know what I mean? You guys know what I'm talking about. Someone in the chat has to know what I'm talking about.
Baked goods under my chair? That's called.
No, it was like, well, no, it wasn't. It was just like a card, right? It was just like a card with the name of the baked good. And like whenever you landed on that chair, that was like, oh, you won that baked good. I can't remember. It was like musical chairs. I can't remember what it was called. But anyways.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah, there's something about someone has to know. Yes, a cakewalk. Yes, Mike Sneed coming in hard, you know.
Not doing
yes,
no cakewalks.
Well, nobody knows how to spell Stache either. There, Fezmo. Yeah. See,
right.
we did as a walk. See, Becca Lynn, Mike Sneed. Yes, it's a cakewalk. It's, anyways. Yeah, Mike Sneed carrying the comments and the show. Well done, Mike, tonight.
And
you
Schooley,
get a star.
You're
Remember
still doing
3 stars to chat.
the tickets for
We are still doing seats for service.
Mhm.
Good.
Collecting for 2 more weeks. We're up to I think a little over 1,300, which guarantees that we're gonna have 2 tickets to give away. I'm also donating my 2 tickets to one of the games to give away, an autograph puck to give away for anybody that donates $5 or more. Go on Thunderbolts. All the stuff's pinned at the top of the page. It gets the military in the seat for the military night, and also it also gives a donation to this year to the Tampa Warriors. If you don't know who they are a great nonprofit hockey thing. So look up the Tampa Warriors, and there is a donation given to them for every single thing. So
And this
and
does
there you
then
go. And
Steve
Steve
Mandigo
will also be donating his 3 tickets to one of the games.
which are good seats.
Yes.
I've been in those seats. They're good seats. So, yes, big things there with that. The seats for service giveaway, Thunderbolts. You know, we like to be a part of that. And don't forget about the jersey giveaway with Monkey Cult.
Yeah, there's a lot of giveaways going on right now.
What we're involved with giving back to people. Yeah, that's what we do. So, yeah, let's look out for those things. Be involved with those things. Got a big week of hockey coming up. Another back-to-back again. So early in the season. And hopefully we'll see you guys down there around Emily. And Becca, Lynn, I'm with you. I'm so ready for that coffee to drop too. I'm counting the days.
Get on that email list and get yourself a chance to win a jersey right here next week. Until then, enjoy opening night. This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
That's it?